Welcome back to Wrestling with Horror. My name is Andrew Dreamer, and I have just gotten home from the movie theater. I saw Scream 6, and if you watched my last video, then you know that I was really excited going into this, and I had a lot of thoughts and predictions about what were going to happen in this movie. Some of them came true a little bit, some of them sort of almost came true, some of them didn't. Now, there are going to be spoilers in this video, but I'm going to do a spoiler-free kind of first couple minute review, and then we're going to get into like the heavy details and talk about it from there. So let's talk about Scream 6. So my main takeaway from the film was that it was pretty good. It's not a bad movie. I wasn't really blown away like I hoped I was going to be, but it was still good. It was a very good made movie. It was a very good movie. It was well written. It was well rounded. A lot of character development in this movie, especially for the main two characters and the main four actually that survived from the previous movie. We got some returning characters that I thought were utilized in a good way. We had a lot of blood, a lot of gore. You know that I like that stuff. That's what I go to see. And I was very pleased with the amount of gore and the brutality of this movie. Now, one of my predictions was that Ghostface was going to be even more brutal in this film than we've ever seen him before, and that one came true. The kills in this movie are brutal. A lot of them are a little over the top. And there are a lot of unique kills as well. A lot of different things than we've seen from the previous Ghostface. This one is different. And that's the biggest thing that I can say. It's different. It's not just a rinse and repeat, paint by number Scream movie. Of course, I'm trying to be careful with what I say. There are a lot of aspects that fit into that box, I guess you could say, but that's not even fair to put this movie in a box. But it fits into that Scream box. It fits, and you can definitely tell you're watching a Scream movie by watching this. But there are a lot of interesting and stylistic choices and a lot of writing choices that were made throughout the film, and character choices that some of them made sense, some of them didn't, but it made the film unique and it made it different. And like I said, I was looking forward to the backdrop of the film, and I was pleasantly pleased with what we got to see in this film. It wasn't like just let's show every landmark around the city, but I thought the city it was a nice environment to put these people in, especially with like what you saw in the trailer with the subway scene. That whole segment of the film it worked really well for me. It set everything up perfectly. I was just very pleased with that aspect of the film. Now, without getting too into detail about the plot of the film right now, because I don't even really want to do that in this review at all. I just want to talk about things that I liked and did not like. The returning characters from Scream 5, you had Mindy and Chad, Sam and Tara. I really like the dynamic that these four have now. They've got each other's backs. They're always looking out for each other. And they're all together. They're in college now. It's a year later. They've graduated high school. They're all in college. Sam's there watching over her sister, trying to take care of her, make sure she is safe. Now, Tara doesn't always like that. She doesn't always want her big sister lurking around and watching over her. And understandably so, but they've been through a lot of trauma, and it makes sense to have that character do that. And that's what I mean when I say that there are a lot of character choices that make sense to kind of drive this movie's plot and set it up. So as I said, it's a very good movie. I recommend going to see it. And if you haven't seen it yet and you don't want to be spoiled, don't watch any farther, because here's where we're getting into the nitty-gritty, the meat and bones of this film. So here we go. All right. Starting off with the things that I liked about this movie. So, things I liked about this film. Number one, Kirby. I thought her character was brought back and utilized in the proper way. She got quite a bit of screen time in this film. She was just shady enough to where you think maybe they might just pull that rug out from under us and make her the killer. They did not, which was the right choice. She should not have ever even been considered to be the killer. in any way, shape, or form. But her character is brought back. She's now an FBI agent, and she's trying to help Sam and Tara. Of course, they all grew up together. She's a little older than them, but she knows them. They all lived in Woodsboro. It's a small town. Everybody knows everybody. But she's there, and she's helping them throughout the film. She plays a major part in the third act of the film. There's a scene, we kind of saw some of it in the trailer, where you see the shrine that has all of the different ghost faces in them, and it's got all the different memorabilia from the rest of the series, showing all the stuff that the people were wearing when they were killed. All that scene, when you first introduced to that entire area that is in an abandoned movie theater. There's a scene that I said that I wanted in my predictions video, things I wanted from this film. There's a scene where Mindy and Kirby sit down each other, and Kirby's like, "Oh, I hear you're a horror fan." And they're starting to go back and forth like, best Nightmare movie, best Friday the 13th movie. And they're just doing this little back and forth thing, and at the end they're both like, game recognized game, you know? And that's just one of those moments that I really wanted to see. I said that in my video, and I was really, really pleased with that, like that little bit of camaraderie and just that little bonding moment between those two characters who are both the stand-in Randy in their respective films. And there were a lot of just little moments like that. I thought the chase scenes were done really well. There were a lot of high stakes in those chase scenes. I like the fact that Ghostface just runs into the convenience store without regard for anybody, doesn't care who's in there. He just wants to get his target, and that's what he's going after. It doesn't care who he has to kill, who gets in his way. He's going after his target, and that's something that we haven't necessarily seen before, is Ghostface just running into these situations head on and taking out anybody who stands in his way. Normally, he's lurking in a closet or hiding in the shadows, waiting for his target to be alone. But here, he just does it in the broad daylight of just wherever he wants. He doesn't care. Something else this movie does really well is it opens up, the opening scene, maybe not the strongest of the series. It's not horrible, but obviously the opening is Samara Weaving. And you have her character, this character sitting at a bar waiting on a date, and you know, he calls her, says that he's lost. She runs outside, and he says he's running down an alley, and there's somebody coming after him. And then Ghostface pops out, stabs her a few times, well, more than a few, and kills her. And then Ghostface unmasks the first second of the movie, the first few minutes, and you're sitting there going, "Oh my God, did they just do something completely off the wall and give us who Ghostface is in the first few minutes of the film?" Well, yes, but no. This character and one of his friends actually were planning on killing Sam and Tara to finish Richie's movie, is what he says. But alas, that doesn't happen, because the actual Ghostface killer in this movie shows up and kills them and stops them, because he wants to be the one to kill Sam and Tara. In the third act, when it finally comes time for the reveal, we got something that we haven't seen before in a Scream movie. 3 killers. You have a character that we previously thought was dead, and I was, you know, it kind of crossed my mind for a second that maybe she wasn't dead and she could come back as the killer. But for the most part, I just considered her dead. I didn't really see it coming. Now, the other character, who is actually her brother, we don't know that throughout the film, but it's her brother, and he is kind of the obvious choice for Ghostface the whole time. He's kind of off-putting. He's a little nerdy. He gets these weird stares going at some point. But the third killer is the detective, the father of the girl that we thought was dead, who's actually the father of this other guy, and also the father of Richie, the Ghostface from the previous movie. And now these 3 are out for revenge, calling Sam a murderer, and they want to kill her and her sister in a way of revenge and to expose her murderous ways. Now, like I said, the reveal may not have been the best of the franchise, but it was shocking enough that there were 3 killers that it worked for me. It worked for me. I don't think these are the best Ghostfaces we've seen. Like I said earlier, they're the most brutal, I think. And they're effective. For what they needed to be, they were effective. And like I said, it just works. It worked for me. It did well enough what it needed to do. Now, going into a few of the negative things that I had about the film. The biggest one, Gail. I did not like Gail in this film. I did not like what they did with her character. I did not like how they had her exit the film. I not pleased. I don't know why they chose to do the things they did here, because at the end of Scream 5, we had this nice moment with Sydney and Gail, where she's like, I'm going to write a book about a good man who used to live here. And you had this nice little moment in remembrance of Dewey, who we all loved and who deserved better and did not deserve to die. And it still makes me emotional. And it made me emotional in this film, seeing the pictures of David Arquette and the picture of him and Courtney Cox together that they use in the film to show that they were in a relationship together in the film too. And it still makes me emotional thinking about that. But to have that character make all that progress and say that I'm done with that stuff, I'm doing this for Dewey, who I don't deserve, but I love him and he is special to me. In this film, you completely turn that around and you have Gail write that exploitative book anyway, and it's basically a spit in Dewey's face, and I did not like that at all. I thought it was very disrespectful to the character of Dewey. Just not pleased at all with that choice. And second part about Gail, the thing that I did not like about her in this film is that they did not have the guts to kill her. Now, I don't know why that choice was made. You think she's dead for this moment, her eyes shut, and then the paramedics rush in and say, oh, there's a weak pulse. Let's get her out of here. Let's save her life. Whoop-de-doo. She gets to come back for the next one. And that's nothing against Courtney Cox or the character of Gale Weathers. I love the character of Gale Weathers. I think it's a really good character. I think she's made a lot of progress to the films. But the way that they did her in this film, not a fan. The only redeemable part about her character in this movie is that she has a really good chase scene with Ghostface, and she can definitely hold her own in a fight. Of course, she's been through it 5 previous times, so of course she can hold her own in the fight, but that is the only redeemable part of her character in this movie. That's the only thing that I really cared for. The other big negative I had was that essentially this was the same thing that we've seen 5 other times. They did a lot of different ways of getting to that destination, but the destination was the same. You had similar stops along the way. You had similar beats. You had repeating things. You had parallels between Scream 1 and this one, and parallels between Scream 2 and that. They're turning Chad into like the Dewey character who gets nearly butchered every film, and then at the very end they're like, oh, we've got one more alive here. And I don't understand why they're doing that. I thought Chad was going to be the one that died in this film. He almost did, and Mindy did as well. She almost got killed as well, but she came in at the last second and was like, I know who the killers are. And they're like, yeah, we know. They're dead. And she's like, oh, did I miss the monologue again? Like, come on, we got to do something better with her character. She is a much better character than that. She deserves to be a part of all of it if you're going to keep these characters around. But like I said, it's kind of just more of the same. It didn't really set up anything for Scream 7, so I don't know what their plan is for that. I'm sure they've got something coming our way. I'm sure it's going to be the same creative team and driving force behind Scream 7, so I'm confident that they can do something cool. But this didn't even really feel like a middle chapter in a trilogy. It just felt like another Scream film, which is fine because, again, if this is the worst Scream film in the franchise, then you're doing a freaking great job, because Scream is probably the most consistent franchise in horror history. Every film is good, it's watchable, it's enjoyable. There might be some things you don't like, and I'm sure, but you can watch them all, and they're very well-made movies. There's not a bad movie in this franchise. So like I said, those are the things that I liked about the film. Those are the things that I did not like about the film. If you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. It's definitely worth a watch. There's a lot of good, gory, violent, bloody, brutal fun to be had. And then once you've seen the movie, once you've watched this review, get down in the comments. Let me know what you thought. Did you enjoy this film? Did you think that they took it too far? Did they take a big step backwards from the previous film? Did they take a step forward? Let me know what you think. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't done it already. Turn your notification bell on so you never miss another video. My name is Andrew Dreamer, and I will see you next time on Wrestling with Horror.